Yep.
Can I see myself? You can't see myself?
Not today, next week you will.
So we're live.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we are live again. Man, I know our time is all random. We're always dropping in at different moments, but man, there was a lot of going on.
So much research involved.
There was a lot of going on today, guys. On a personal note, I killed a cow.
Oh, hey, tell them about that though.
Well, okay, real quick, guys, and you know what? This is for y'all out there listening too, and this is totally off topic. This is not what I plan on talking about today, but you know, this is just to drive home the point that I put my money where my mouth is.
Yes, because inflation's happening and food's going up,
guys,
and we bought a cow.
Literally, I believe in this stuff wholeheartedly, and I prove it with my wallet. I bought a cow. A whole real live cow, and I took it to a butcher market and I had it killed and processed in order to reduce the cost of obviously meat for myself and anybody in my community that I can connect. Matter of fact, inbox me if you want some meat, guys. Ribeyes, short ribs, chuck roast, milanesa.
Barbacoa, no?
Ah, man, bro. I don't think I have barbacoa.
Cow tongue?
No, that's different because that's different. But anyways.
It's a whole cow and a half.
Yeah, so I had to go pick up my cow today and like put it all in the freezer, and I was just rushing to get here and everything. But hey, you know, better late than never. So here we are, guys. Thank you guys for dropping in. It's our third episode of Theoretically Speaking. We appreciate everyone who's listening. We appreciate everyone's support and encouragement. Unfortunately, Mr. Miguel is not with us today. But nonetheless, we have another Miguel here, Miguelin.
Mike G, aka
Mike G in the house. And dude, the number one, numero uno, el mejor producer de todos.
the techie.
Jonathan Morales, baby.
Let's hear for John. Oh yeah, that was it. Yeah, yes sir.
So without further ado, guys, in the next coming weeks, I want to inform you guys, I want to be pivoting a little bit. I know we've been like on government and politics lately, and honestly, guys, there's probably not going to ever be a pause to the information that we could talk about regarding that, because it seems like when we are almost done, something else comes up, like, and you know, I kind of don't want to maintain that vibe for too long. So in the future weeks, I'm going to try to pivot up, switch it up. We want to talk about the educational system and entrepreneurship. Is it the best way? One of our commenters, Kayla, shout out to Kayla. She actually commented on our last podcast, and she mentioned about the public education system, and you know, are our kids learning everything? Of course they're learning something, but is it all that they could be learning in the how many years are you in school, bro, from kindergarten to graduation?
12,
15,
13, some of us 15, some of us 16,
Literally,
17,
22,
22, 23.
Is it all they could be learning in the 15 years of their life? I mean, honestly. Anyways, we'll talk about that later. Another topic we want to be talking about in our now, as a matter of fact, on that note, anybody who's an administrator who feels passionate about that topic, I'm probably going to be reaching out to one of my cousins too to talk about that topic. But anybody else who feels passionate wants to talk about that topic, educational system, and or entrepreneurship, right?
Looking for some guests on this show.
For the other, we want to have you as a guest on this show. Another topic that we want to be talking about is religion and or Christianity, particularly, right?
And some science.
There's so many religions that can be talked about, and we want to probably touch on each and every one of them for you guys. But that's another topic we wanted to be talking about in the upcoming weeks. And also, we want to have a guest on the podcast, be it a pastor or elder in some particular church, to also discuss with us on that note. So that's what's coming up in the future, guys. But for today, we will be continuing on in kind of what we've been speaking about lately. And as of late, we do want to mention something that just happened recently. It was, and I know that really the mainstream news didn't really talk about it, but there was
no way
a congressional hearing. Ted Cruz was kind of grilling again Dr. Fauci and one of the I don't know, she's one of the top people in the FBI. So without further ado, John, can you play that clip for us?
Oh yeah, check out this clip.
I want to turn to the FBI. How many FBI agents or confidential informants actively participated in the events of January 6th?
Sir, I'm sure you can appreciate that I can't go into the specifics of sources and methods.
Did any FBI agents or confidential informants actively participate in the events of January 6th? Yes or no?
Sir, I can't answer that.
Did any FBI agents or confidential informants commit crimes of violence on January 6th?
I can't answer that, sir.
Did any FBI agents or FBI informants actively encourage and incite crimes of violence on January 6th?
Sir, I can't answer that.
Ms. Sadburn, who is Ray?
January 6th, and I know what you guys are thinking. Some of you guys probably, I'm thinking it too. Man, it happened a year ago. Biden won. Get over it. You know, Ted Cruz, not too many people are worried about him. That's besides the point. That's not any of my point. And yes, January 6th happened a long time ago. Yes, it's old news. Yes, I want to move on because I hate thinking about this stuff over and over. It doesn't make me happy and fill me with joy in the morning when I see this stuff and think about it. But the point that I'm making, Mike, the point that I'm making is that it is obvious from this video, and that's what I want to share with you guys, is that these intelligence agencies, be it the FBI, be it the CIA. Be it the NSA, are unchecked. This is a member of our legislative branch who, mind you, the legislative branch of government, right? There's the executive, there's the legislative, and there's the judicial branch, who is the Supreme Court, executive, President of the United States, and all those. Matter of fact, the FBI falls under the executive branch. The legislative branch is the branch of government that creates and passes the laws, and they're the ones that represent the people. Cruz, obviously, being a representative of the state of Texas, a senator for Texas, right? So they represent the people. A representative of the people is asking a member of the FBI intelligence group a question, and as you can see, guys, they do not have to answer. They do not have to answer to anybody. So what is the point that I'm trying to make from this? Well, it seems like there seems to be a pattern, and the pattern seems to be is that there's some type of situation that happens, be it 9/11, be it the January 6th riot,
Some major event.
some major event that happens that for whatever reason conveniently seems to usher in, it creates a narrative, and that narrative garners support from the American people to support some type of legislation that seems to convenient nobody else but mostly these executive institutions that fall under this executive branch, be it the CIA or whatever, right? And so based on that, I want to reference something else, guys. I want to reference today Operation Northwoods.
Because again, the whole thing is there's an event that happens that ushers in a new legislative, the birth of some legislation.
And guys, I want to prove it to you. Like, I want to show you facts. I don't want to go into conspiracy theory. I want to present the facts.
So let's go factually speaking first, and then let's take it into theoretical.
That was Exhibit A. Jonathan, gentlemen of the jury, Exhibit B. Can you pull up on Google Operation Northwoods? Now, guys,
so this is an actual. Tell me what it is, Cood. It's an actual.
So it's an actual declassified document by the government. Okay,
so facts.
This is facts.
All right.
Yes, dude. We're going into the Twilight Zone here. If you guys want to look this up for yourself, you can actually find it on the government archives website. If you do that, what you're going to find, guys, is it's going to be a little piece of paper that you're going to have to zoom in and read it yourself, and it's a lot harder to read. So I'm just going to summarize it from Wikipedia.
Hit them with the facts.
I know what some of you guys are saying. Hey, Wikipedia is untrustworthy, yada, yada. Okay, guys, look at the government website and read it for yourself. Again, it's hard to read because of the way they present it, and you're going to find that for yourself. But, so I'm just going to summarize it off of here. It essentially says the same thing. So, real quick, Operation Northwoods was a proposed false flag operation against American citizens that originated, look at where it originated, in the same executive branch that this lady is the FBI agent. Originated within the U.S. Department of Defense. Man, that's funny. Isn't that the same department that's supposed to be protecting Americans?
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Originated within the U.S. Department of Defense of the United States government in 1962.
Say that again. Originated where?
In the U.S. Department of Defense of the United States government in 1962.
62. Okay.
Hey, funny enough, when was JFK assassinated?
Hey, that's in the 60s, no? Of
Man,
course.
bro, I mean, that's just such close
Put
proximity.
the sound effect on. Woo!
The proposals called for the CIA operatives to both stage and actually commit acts of terrorism against American military and civilian targets, blaming them on the Cuban government and using it to justify a war against Cuba. The possibilities detailed in the document included the possible assassination of Cuban immigrants, seeking boats of Cuban refugees on the high seas, hijacking planes. Wow, man.
That sounds familiar.
too.
Man, 9/11 or something?
Wow.
9/12, 9/13?
Hijacking planes to be shot down or given the appearance of being shot down, blowing up a U.S. ship, and orchestrating violent terrorism in U.S. cities. The proposals were rejected by who? President John F. Kennedy.
Wait, is that the same president that got assassinated?
Yes, dude.
No way.
I mean, is this coincidence or?
Damn. See, this is, by the way, guys, thank you for tuning in. This is Factually Speaking for the next 5 minutes. These are
Okay.
facts, okay? So we're going to take these facts and pivot into, okay, knowing this, what can we infer? You always want to infer based off, you want to build on the facts, right? If they're willing to do this, so look at this in 62, right? So to summarize, they're trying to, what do you call it? Cause these false flags against American citizens. So the government, who's supposed to protect the citizens, is going to initiate some type of catastrophic event that is going to garner support. So the media can spin it, throw it everywhere on the TV, like everywhere across the country, right? And they're trying to get support for what?
For their own personal, agendas.
So it just looks good and we can go to war, right?
I mean, who knows completely why they really wanted war with Cuba? I mean, honestly, JFK was the one that really held the reins back on that one. But that's kind of besides the point. The point really, and the crazy thing is, to the extent that they're willing to do things, false flag attacks on American soil against American citizens in American cities, up to the point of hijacking of planes, bombing of U.S. ships. I mean,
Assassinating officials?
I mean, come on, man. You can't just like they're doing nowadays, just bribe somebody in media to like just chirp about it all day, every day or something, and kind of convince people that way. Like, really? You gotta hijack planes and whatnot?
We got to go that far, though?
That's my point. Now, this takes me to my next point, guys. If this was an actual declassified document against something that they were planning to do, hypothetically speaking,
Or
theoretically speaking, what's not to say that they wouldn't do it in 9/11?
What are some facts on 9/11? Let's take it factually speaking.
I don't want to, again, we're not going into conspiracy today. Let's just talk about
Let
some
me
good
ask you
stuff.
this. What came out of 9/11? What kind of, were there any rules that came out? Were there any new laws passed?
The Patriot Act.
Is that right?
It is.
How so?
Bro, what is the acronym even stand for? There's like an acronym, I call it Patriot.
We can have
It
John
was
look it up.
protection against treason, terrorism in our, I don't know, something. It was an acronym.
But what did
anyways,
it do though? It took a lot of our liberties for the sake of national security. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, look, these are just some of the facts. These are just some of them are facts, and some of them are like, I'm 99% sure they're facts because I've heard them talked about, and I got to go back and fact check them. Nonetheless, guys, again, as I said before in previous episodes, we don't have the time and stuff to go super, super, super deep in all this stuff and like literally cite you some references and whatnot on everything. But some of the potential facts is that the North American, pretty much the jets and the military were told to stand down on the day that 9/11 happened,
Okay.
right?
I got a good one for you. There was a building that fell. It was not hit.
Building 7.
Okay.
Building 7 fell.
How many
was
people
not
know that,
hit.
by the way? If you knew that, just raise your hand. Put that raise in the hand emoji in the, because a lot of people don't know that. Why wasn't that talked about a lot though?
Everybody should know that.
Okay.
Everybody was in fear. That's why.
Put the fear thing. Put the
Bro,
fear thing.
for reals. Okay, that one. Then I've heard physicists say that the buildings could not possibly have collapsed.
Oh, the way they
did
fell?
without controlled
With the acceleration,
demolition.
yes. Okay, that's another one.
They said that the steel beams in the building, no matter how hot it got from jet fuel, would not have incinerated and,
Oh,
and
yeah.
collapsed
They said
like that.
I wasn't gonna talk, but I do know a little bit about this. So I read somewhere that like it was planned, like there's some bombs planned because the way it fell kind of.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Another fact.
So like
An insurance policy was
Oh.
taken out on the buildings like a week
Dude, that
before.
was that's a wild fact right there.
which is
Hit him with that factually speaking.
coincidentally.
Oh, which one?
Yeah, it's factually speaking.
That's
Yeah, so those are the facts. Take them wherever you want to go. But okay, we see once again, insurance policy was taken out. This, that, the weird events or the circumstances, right, of how the buildings fell, the untouched building fell. All this stuff. But then you have this new legislation that is passed, right?
Right.
And what they can tap into our phones, they can do this, that, the whole shebang.
Most people, okay, guys. So this is the point that I'm trying to make.
They would have never been able to pass that had we not been attacked. That's the main point.
Right. This is the point that I'm trying to make about these operations and stuff, guys. We, the American people, to a great extent, are naive and ignorant of the things that they're doing. Now, that's not said in an offensive way. When I say that, I'm including myself in that bundle. I'm a regular person. I have a job. I have to provide for my family. I do not have the time to be looking into this stuff on the veracity of what they may or may not be doing. But I've looked into it more than the average person. Why? Because some stuff has garnered my attention. I did a little bit of digging. The more digging I did, the more that I found. The more that I found, it caused me to dig a little bit more. And obviously, the more I dig, the more I find.
It's like we need a bigger shovel.
I need a bigger shovel, bro. And matter of fact, guys, you out there are my digging team.
My baby
Hopefully,
shovels. Baby shovels.
My subcontracted team of... Anyways... So the whole point that I'm trying to make is there seems to be a pattern, and it's a false, I'm gonna say false flag, right? Theoretically speaking, right? It seems to be some type of false flag that evokes an emotional reaction from the population of the United States. That emotional reaction causes the people to want some sort of answer or solution to said problem that we think is created by American enemies, but could potentially be created by domestic enemies.
As demonstrated by
right?
Operation Northwoods.
And when that incident happens, it garners American support, then they usher in the legislation. So they say, hey guys, here it is. This is the answer to this situation. This is what we're gonna do. In the situation of 9/11, regardless of what you think that was or whatnot, the fact of the matter is the Patriot Act was ushered in. And the fact of the matter of the Patriot Act is that it dramatically expanded these intelligence bureaus and their powers and the width and scope to which they can affect their purposes.
It's like steroids for their growth.
Yeah. Right? So either the NSA was created by the Patriot Act or it like dramatically expanded. What is it, Mike?
What'd you say again?
The NSA.
National Security.
Yeah, the NSA. You're saying if they grew,
like did
they already exist?
Was it created because of the Patriot Act, or did it?
Homeland Security?
Was it? Who knows? No. I'm talking about National Security Agency. That's not the same. The Department of Homeland Security was created by the Patriot Act.
Okay. See, I'm not gonna call. If I don't know, I'm not gonna say I do.
Okay. Nonetheless, for sure, what we do know is that the numbers were greatly expanded. The intelligence agencies greatly expanded. The powers that they have were greatly expanded. Guys, just to speak on one of the powers that they got after the Patriot Act, because of the Patriot Act, the American government now has the power to jail and imprison any single person, any American citizen that they want to, if they deem them to be a domestic terrorist without due process or trial, right? Which it goes directly against our constitutional rights. But again, because of the Patriot Act, they can pretty much bypass those constitutional rights because of what is written in the Patriot Act.
Check this out for a similarity. So they can round them up. You're saying they can round them up. They can detain you for an indefinite amount of time, right? So what they deem not going to, right? Because who are these people? Whatever they say, they're like, okay, based off of evidence or what? How are they going by it? Just whoever they want to round up, they round up.
Whoever they want, and whatever evidence it is that they say that they present.
Sounds a lot like Facebook, Joe. Look, they could, right?
Bro, yeah.
Talk about that. I mean,
if they say it's misinformation, it's misinformation, and that's that. There ain't nothing
they can jail
you
you for whatever Facebook. You.
And
have you ever been Facebook jailed?
And bro, and as you can see, you got a congressman that's questioning them. What if they were questioning them in reference to you? They're jailing you. Hey, what's up with this person, this American citizen from Texas, blah, blah, what's this? Oh, I'm sorry, we can't tell you that. Divulge that information. It's classified right now. It's an ongoing investigation. Yada,
that was her excuse for everything.
Well, it's been ongoing for 2 years now, and he's still locked up. What's going on? Oh, I'm sorry. We're still an ongoing investigation. I can't comment on that. That could be any one of us. That could be our teenage kid. It could be any one of us. So the point that I want to make about that is because going back to the whole January 6th, we know what happened on January 6th to a great extent. But the thing is now, there was a newly released article just recently. So when Biden came into his presidency, he made a request to, I believe it was the Department of Defense. I just looked into this the other day. I have to get my specifics, go back on them. But anyways, you guys can Google this yourself and you can find the information. It's actually all over because he just got the response recently. So he made a request to one of these U.S. department agencies, where there's Department of Defense, FBI, one of them. The FBI was the one that gave the response though. And his request was, what is the biggest terroristic threat to the United States? And the response that he got recently was that the biggest terroristic threat to the United States is no longer overseas or international, nor is it Islamic in nature or what have you, but the biggest terroristic threat in the United States is political conservatives.
Wow. Okay. So
Domestic terrorists, political conservatives.
and why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's because naturally there's a lot of categories that conservatives fall into. One of them is therefore limited government. And we know that these intelligence agencies, they're not trying to maintain.
They're going for maximum
they're
government.
limited. They're trying to grow. They're like a voracious beast. That's one. I mean, they go against everything that that these agencies seem to want, and or the globalist agenda. Now, I mean, conservatives are not, more often than not, unless they really have to, they're not for never-ending wars. They want to bring the troops back. They're for limited government. They're pro-freedom. They're pro-life. And I really don't think these people really care about pro-choice or pro-life. To them, I don't really think it's about that at all. Like, honestly, they could probably care less about anybody's baby. What I think, it's not about the actual baby. It's actually the power over the baby. I don't want you, I want you to give me the power to be able to tell somebody else what they can and can't do with their body, right?
Do you think it has a little bit to do with the morals too? Like the morals that they want to pass, like
Morals?
yeah. Because then you could take it.
I think the only way that it pertains to morals is when the moral is an obstacle in their agenda. Like, I think these people are a lot of them are like amoral. The only morals that I think they have is their own like moral structure with their brain. And I think the way their moral structure works is that, hey, I got to do whatever it is necessary for the greatest good of society, right? But the thing is, their concept of the greater good is I have to control everybody so that they can do what I want them to do because my way is the best way. And these freaking peasants, these ignorant, resource-consuming leeches on this earth, the lower half of the whole entire global population, that's all they are.
a waste of oxygen, right?
They're drinking, they're consuming all our resources, they're throwing all their trash, sucking up all our oxygen. They fart too much and they're releasing too much methane and CO2 into the...
They're the ones, responsible for global warming.
I mean, honestly, it's crazy. It's crazy, and I kind of went off on a tangent there because I just wanted to kind of stick to facts and stuff. But if you've ever heard the way some of these people talk, that's literally how they think. Matter of fact, speaking of that, okay, you want me to support what I just said?
Yes.
You guys can look it up. There was a study that came out recently from Yale University. The study was done on the difference between white liberals and white conservatives, as crazy as it sounds. They say that white liberals dumb down their speech when in the presence of minorities, as opposed to white conservatives. Okay, that just... I mean, it's kind of weird that they would do a study on that, and I don't know, think of it what you want, look up the study for yourself. I'm just going to make a note of it, but when I say, and that's nothing against, I don't know about liberals or left wing or something like that. I don't want to get too much into that right now. I'm just saying, you know, these people are saying that the conservatives are the enemy and stuff. Based on this study, the conservatives are the ones that that are forthright, and they don't change their speech. And it's actually the lefties and the liberals, the ones that think that minorities and stuff are stupid, even though these seems to be the whole what's it called, the whole virtue signalers. You know, that there seem to be always talking about, you know, minority rights and this and that, but behind closed doors and within themselves, they think we're stupid. They think we're stupid, and now that's been proven by a Yale study. Anyways, moving on. Anything you want to note on that, Mike?
What?
On anything that we just talked about? The whole what they do, you know,
I just don't know. I mean, it speaks volumes in terms of when you look at what they're willing to do in the name of passing legislation like that. It's mind blowing. Like actual people, like crimes against the American citizens, to garnish support for what the cause may be, right? Whether it's go to war with Cuba or different any country. Remember you were saying something about Iraq, weapons of mass destruction. When we went to Iraq to do what? What did we do? Destabilize the whole country. What about the fuel, the gas, the oil?
Who knows what that? Who was that contracting company that came in?
Halliburton
got the Halliburton who was connected to Dick Cheney at the time.
Yeah. So once again, it's people in office taking care of, you know, basically their own in the name of this war. And
so the whole thing is, guys, I wanted to share this information with you guys so we could kind of perk up our ears and just think about this. We know because of Operation Northwoods is to declassify document what they intended to do. That seems to go perfectly well with what happened on 9/11. 9/11 is old news. Yes, it is. The reason I bring it up is because they passed the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act dramatically expanded the powers of these intelligence bureaus, agencies, and the executive branch of government. And based on the video that I just showed you with Ted Cruz, the executive branch of government is unchecked by any other branch of government. All they have to do is say, can't talk about it, it's classified information, that's it. The executive branch of government can also lock up any American citizen they want to without due process, which is unconstitutional, but it's a little loophole that's found in the Patriot Act that they passed because of 9/11.
exactly.
Now, what they're saying is that political conservatives in the United States are now the biggest threat to America.
To American democracy. Ooh,
To American democracy. And this is the point that I'm trying to make. They're talking about the January 6th.
Yeah,
Now,
the January. Yeah.
They're using that emotional situation to garner American support via their network of mainstream media, MSNBC, CNN.
Were they able to see Mr. Ep?
Huh?
Were they able to see that?
No, we didn't show Mr. Ep.
Well, tell them a little
What
bit.
happened with Mr. Ep?
Well, Mr. Ep was basically, so there's a picture right when the whole January 6th thing happened, right? So there's this picture. It's like, hey, we need information on all these people that could have been involved in this January 6th takeover of the Capitol, whatever. But they were asking if Cruz was asking if he's working with the FBI, right? An informant.
Right.
That's what he was. He was like, is there an informant? Can you confirm? And they're like, nah, we can't disclose that. But basically, it's like they planted someone to go whisper in their ear, like, hey, do this, break. Shortly after the guy's whispering in his ear, Mr. Ep, right? The guy breaks in, or what does he do? To the Capitol. That was the whole purpose of the video, showing.
I didn't see that end of the video.
Yes, he's whispering, and as soon as you see, which by the way, Mr. Ep is like the informant of the FBI informant, and he's whispering to some guy. And right after he's done whispering, the guy goes and he starts causing havoc and breaking in, and that's the whole point too. So they're making it seem like all of these conservatives are the ones responsible for the riot at the Capitol, when it's actually FBI people in the midst instigating.
Yeah. I mean, to what extent can we be sure? I don't know, right?
They deleted his photo right after.
They deleted these photos, but what can we be sure about? Well, I think we can be pretty darn sure that there were intelligent agents
working
in the
behind
crowd,
the scene. Yes.
In the crowd that were wearing clothing, like citizen clothing.
Yes, like conservative
And
citizen clothing.
Not only were they just there, right? Okay, well, maybe they were there to protect the people, make sure nothing. No.
They were instigating.
We
is what
actually
they did.
have video where they're instigating.
Yes, exactly. And then the video disappears. Like Mr. Ep is nowhere to be found. What Cruz is asking this lady, like, were there FBI, informants there? Sorry, and she said, sorry, we can't disclose that, this, and that.
Okay. Now, the best rebuttal that anybody could say to what we're saying is they could be like, you know what? Nah, man, you guys are just going to, but we've already proven beyond a shadow of doubt that they've done this before.
Through the facts, exactly.
They've done this before. So the question is, would they do it again? And did they do it on that particular day? That's up for you to decide. We are pretty convinced that they did because of the information that we have just submitted to you guys. Ultimately, can we know beyond a shadow of doubt? No, we can't know. Why can't we know? Because you cannot just go and ask these people to divulge their information and they give it to you. Guys,
Which Cruz just tried doing that, and they said we can't.
The United States, bro, can be subpoenaed. Like, literally, they will take you in and they would say, hey, is this you right here, Mike? On this video, right? Is that you? No, it's not me. It looks like you. And if I show this to a jury, I'm pretty sure they'll all agree it's you. It looks like you, right? We're going to keep you and we're going to hold you and we're going to charge you with XYZ charges. And unless you tell us what you're doing there, who you're collaborating with, et cetera, you are not going home, okay? The fact that they can do that to anybody else, but they cannot do it to any part of these intelligence agencies is crazy.
That is, because who's checking them? That's the whole point. Who's checking?
Yeah. So, guys, that was the whole point of that. The thing is, I wanted to drive that home, and I wanted to say, look, everything that they're trying to do, January 6th was old, but it seems to be like they're trying to garner support for further legislation, particularly against political conservatives in America, which is crazy. And another thing that maybe we could talk about it the other day, another exhibit and another example, is how the National School Board Association, you guys can look this up too, submitted a request to the Department of Defense to consider parents who protest at school board meetings as domestic terrorists against the school boards. And these parents were protesting things like the teaching of critical race theory, the unification of like restrooms, gender restrooms. I was gonna say,
what about
because we heard about the whole thing where
LGBT.
No, you heard about that boy who, again, guys, this is again adult content, as I said, but the boy who
cried wolf.
Nah, the boy who raped that girl, bro, at that school.
Oh shoot! See,
He was dressed up as a girl, went into a restroom, raped a girl. And I mean, the parents are crying out and protesting on things like that, and there's a move to silence them. There's a move to consider them domestic terrorists. Like, it's outrageous.
Damn, whatever happened to free speech? What the hell?
They're being eroded quickly. So that's my point, guys. That's my final point, because you're like, oh, you already said that's your point 3-4 times. My final point and the conclusion of the matter is, guys, question these narratives, right? Seek the truth. And you say, like, man, seek the truth. I heard this, and I think it's a really good way to gauge truth, guys. Number 1, logical consistency. Number 2, empirical adequacy, just meaning, can it be tested by science? Can it be tested by history? Can you hit it from all angles, and does it withstand all angles from which you test that truth from, right? Yeah. And lastly, experiential relevance, right? How is it relevant to your experiences in your life and stuff like that, guys? And, I like this one quote that this one guy said. He says, I don't believe in conspiracy theories, but I also don't believe in coincidences, So, I mean, that's just profound, guys. It's
like the more you question, the more you question something, the more a particular pattern starts to emerge. It's the same pattern.
Yeah. So, guys, there's not too much that we can do as citizens, but there is something. Matter of fact, who knows to what extent we can do? Somebody can start their own think tank, their own organization. They could start looking into it. I mean, who knows to the power of one voice, right? Martin Luther King, Gandhi, all these individuals are just examples. Alexander Solzhenitsyn in Russia. All these are just examples of one voice that literally changed the world. And today it's the celebration of Martin Luther King Jr. Day, who, again, the theory goes was, assassinated by the FBI.
Wow. Stay tuned for the next time.
Anyways, guys, another thing, maybe consider, who knows, write your congressman. Tell them about this. Tell them we want to start checking these intelligence agencies. Tell them we want to know the truth. Tell them we want the submission of these files. That's really the only legislative branch we have left. I mean, we have the Supreme Court, and I think the Supreme Court is really doing an okay job in protecting our constitutional rights, especially as of late, in the fact that they shot down the whole Biden mandates and stuff like that. I won't get too much into that. I'm just really pro freedom, guys. I want everybody to do what they want and be left alone to the extent that they can. So anyways, guys, with that, John, how much time we got left, John?
About 15 minutes.
15 minutes. So I'll wrap that up with that. Do we have any questions?
Questions in the comments. So far, nothing.
What'd they say?
We're muted.
Read some comments.
Just Lorenzo. So he just said this is getting interesting. One of the questions was, what is the Homeland Security?
Department of Homeland Security. It's pretty much, it pretty much evolved out of the Border Patrol, right?
Oh, me?
No,
joking.
you were the one that told me about it.
Department of Homeland Security.
I mean, I know it happened.
So the
but
NSA is the one that's the one they were founded
No.
in '52. So we figured
you
that
said
out.
Department of Homeland Security.
Yeah, Homeland Security. That one was more. That one came out of 9/11 because we
Yeah.
looked that up. Okay.
Then someone's asking, aliens, are they real?
Oh, is that Mika?
Bro,
Yeah. Sanchez?
Micaela Sanchez?
how do we know
Well, we got 15 minutes left. Mike, what do you know about that?
about what, aliens? Shoot.
Mike has actually had an alien encounter.
But oh shoot, I've seen. We can't. Why you put me on blast yet? Nah. The thing is,
Nah, I don't
this
know.
is true.
I'm playing.
I'm gonna tell them what I saw with my own. By the way, I have a witness with me. We had it. Oh my god, it was great stuff. But we're gonna save that for next time because I got to tell the whole story. I got, like I said, factually
Okay.
speaking, and
I'll give you my opinion. And again, it's my opinion. My opinion is that aliens aren't real. My opinion is
define alien. Are we talking about an illegal alien? All right, so because hold up, alien can constitute a
okay,
number
not
of
that,
things.
Obviously, not that.
So legal aliens are real.
I mean, can it contact? Can it? What can it? Can it mean bacteria on Mars? Can that be an alien?
Yes, it's alien life to Earth. That's what I'm saying. Define alien.
I mean, in the way that they talk about it, those almond-shaped eyes and those chupacabra-looking freaking things with long freaking fingers and stuff.
Intelligent beings.
The ones that fly the discs and stuff like that. My opinion is that anybody who's really seen those things in real life, I think they're one of a couple of things. One of them is they're either a demonic entity, because I do believe in the spiritual world. I believe in angels, demons, God, Satan, devil, etc. So I believe that they're demonic spirits, just kind of doing one of two things. They're either tormenting, oppressing a human being or whatever, or just like these deceptive. I mean, it says that Satan, the devil, is the father of lies and stuff, and that trickles down into humanity, and we see even through human beings, there's a lot of manipulation and deception. And we see how powerful it is to influence a certain narrative to fulfill a particular agenda. Why wouldn't the kingdom of darkness do that themselves? So, I mean, maybe it's to create a certain narrative that is just supportive of the satanic kingdom's agenda or whatever, right? To really influence human beings into believing like, hey, there is no devil and God. There's billions of galaxies, and there's aliens out there.
So when you say alien, when you say an alien's a demon, okay, are we talking about like a spiritual type of thing or a more physical?
Either or, we know that
I don't think you could be a demon if it's a physical thing.
a demon can manifest in the physical. We know that.
How what do you mean or what?
Well,
Then it wouldn't be like a demon. It wouldn't be spiritual,
we know that angels and demons have the power to present themselves. Well, I mean, I say we know, right? But obviously, we're talking about how do you know that? But
I was about to say.
I'm saying based on the Bible, we know that angels have shown themselves and manifested themselves into in a physical body to humanity.
I guess the real question people want to know is like, do you guys believe there's life intent like people that can like talk?
I do, and
communicate,
here's
like,
what I do think. So now we're gonna have to go talk about the Anunnaki. That's gonna be interesting podcast stuff. Like other when you look at all the historical artifacts, the archaeology, doesn't anybody else find it crazy that we have this advanced architecture. Okay, the pyramids. We have the pyramids in Mexico, the pyramids in Egypt. Look at the vast amount of land, ocean that separates them. But you have all these erect pyramids going up everywhere around the same time, type of thing. Okay, you know, who had technology? Whose idea was it to build a pyramid? And then to one other thing they all have in common is the fact that there's always some type of sacrificial shenanigans going on top.
Dude, to me, that further supports the idea of demons and not aliens.
When you read Exodus, it really sounds like some other visitors and some craft came. Like when Moses was like, "Hey, let me see your faith," and he's talking to God because he wants to see, but God's like, "You got to be kind of far away because you can't see me because you'll die." When you read the whole thing, it's gonna be some interesting talks we're gonna have because
there's also a theory that I've heard people say is that like maybe back then like we were already like pretty advanced and they left, you know what I mean? And we got stuck with some of the like the
okay.
left.
Oh yeah.
Look, if the sons of God came into the daughters of men and had giants, so you had demonic offspring, why wouldn't these angels or demons share their intelligence and knowledge with the people? Now we know from the Tower of Babel that mankind in those days was so sophisticated, bro, that they were able to build a tower up to the heavens had not God came down and confused their language. So they were highly sophisticated in intelligence. Now, if you have one language, one world language, it makes perfect sense. And if they're that sophisticated and if there's that type of intelligent influence, be it, again, talking about the sons of God or the offspring of the demons, it makes perfect sense how they can be anywhere in the world.
Check this out. Where did that story come from? The Tower of Babylon. Genesis, right?
No, not Babylon, Tower of Babel.
Tower of Babel, exactly. Okay.
It wasn't Babylon, it was, I don't know.
It was Tower of Babel. The Sumerian.
Who was the leader? Sumerian. It was.
Yeah, it was a Genesis story.
Yeah, it was a Genesis
and so
story.
There was a really cool theory that got put forward was like, okay, the Tower of Babel wasn't, of course, when it says the heavens, right? It's not talking about into like this tower and like how tall do you think it could have been? What they were trying to build was some like little like stars basically it's to communicate with like a starship type of thing, like. Once again, having to do with like the Anunnaki, like they were building a way to interact with them, intergalactic, some type of. But we have to look it up. But the tower itself wasn't so they can reach heaven and hang out with God or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But the language, that's when you have all these little guys, and that's what does the Bible say? The exact verbiage, just like let us go down there. And mess them up. You know what I'm saying?
That's not the point that I'm trying to make, that they wanted to go to heaven and interact with God. I'm just solely trying to drive home the point of what God himself says, is that if I let him, there's really nothing that they endeavor to do that they will not be able to do. Now, that could mean anything. Who knows what God meant by that? It could very well mean what's happening now, that our technology is advancing so much that literally there's going to get to a point where there's probably nothing that we can endeavor to do as a society that we can't do. And that's highly dangerous because literally we're going to freaking kill ourselves. Right? We're going to drive ourselves to the ground. So maybe it was just a gracious thing of the Lord that he confounded their language at that time. I don't know, right? That's not the point that I was trying to make. Again, the point that I was trying to make simply was that they had really advanced technology. Technology advanced that we should consider that and not underestimate the extent of that advanced technology. And I'm just using that to reinforce the whole idea or the concept that it does make perfect sense that these offspring of demons very well could have had people scattered all throughout the earth that build pyramids. And because you said, like, well, they're built at the same time. Like, how do you explain that? I'm saying, well, you don't necessarily have to explain that through alien civilizations. You could very well explain that using the biblical narrative. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. And what I was saying is like, okay, these people are trying to build this huge tower. The aliens, the Anunnaki, whatever other things you have going on, they didn't like it. They're like, okay, we're gonna go down there, and that's why it's always plural when you look at it. Another thing is you see.
So you're saying it's more likely that
let us make man in our image type of thing. Then that's some really cool stuff because remember, it's kind of like now we're talking about the creation of man, right? Because it could have very easily been this, species comes and they kind of take a little bit of DNA. Of course, they already know what DNA is, because remember, they're advanced, and then they make the whole narrative of humanity being slaves, right? I'm sure you've heard that one, to dig all the gold out. That's why Eden says, like, and there was gold there, and it was really good, like all random, you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot to unpack there, especially when you start seeing like the plural of let us go down and make man in our image, and there's a lot of stuff to kind of to unpack. But it's interesting. That's, obviously we know we're not alone, whether you want to call it some spirit or whether it's some type of physical thing from somewhere else. There's a lot to talk about, especially even the creation of genetic code, which is an actual intelligent language that spells out life, like the genome, right? All the proteins, all the everything at just the right time to make life possible, even a one-celled life. Like you said,
like
bacteria.
it's just a complicated question, because like if you believe, I mean, this is how I see it. If you believe there's life in another planet or something like that, because on the Bible it strictly says that God created like the heaven and the earth, and he said like, oh, he created like this other, and there's other people over there as well. Like it wasn't on the Bible, you know what I mean? So like I feel like that's already gonna get complicated within itself. That's why I'm saying like if there is like something, I feel like it would be that we were already like pretty like technology, like we were advanced technology wise, and like if anything they left behind, they went to go search for new stuff, came back, or like who knows. But you know what I mean? As a Christian, it's gonna be kind of hard to agree that like, yeah, there's life in another planet and stuff.
I mean,
like
I guess there's three ways to break it down. One of them is strictly biblical. There's no aliens as we're discussing them now, like other life forms. It's just God created the heaven and the earth particularly. There's other planets out there, but they're just for the purpose of, some type of gravitational pull that just further supports the perfect environment that we have here on earth, right? So like the moon, for example, right? Why was that? Well, the tides and the gravitational pull, etc., right? So they just, we have a perfect amount of oxygen in the atmosphere. It's something like 20%. If we had less oxygen, you wouldn't be able to light a match. If we had 1% more oxygen, you'd light a match and the whole air around you would combust because there'd be too much oxygen, right? So it's like the perfect. So there's that scenario. The second scenario is there is a God and there's also aliens. They're just out there, and he's just particularly talking about this one. That's the second scenario. And then, the third scenario is that, no, there is no God. It's actually aliens, and the aliens are the ones that got our DNA and blah, blah, blah. And they're just back there in the background.
Because technically we're getting to that scene. Because I mean, I feel like everything can be kind of like proven. There's some facts behind everything, because like technically we can do clones, maybe we're not there yet where it's like super awesome, we're like, okay, that's like a legit clone, but like there's technology out there to like clone stuff,
but I think like if you're really trying to see like, all right, which one is the most truth, and you're just trying to again go by, let's say, which one has the shortest bridge between where we're at and whatever particular belief system you have, one of those three. The shortest bridge, in my opinion, seems to be strictly the biblical narrative, right? Because there's so much that supports that narrative.
When you say there's so much that supports it, like what do you mean? Whatever. Okay. Well, I'll ask you this: do you think the Earth is approximately 6,000 years old?
Do I believe the Earth is approximately 6,000 years old? I don't.
Okay. But the thing is, you don't have to either. Like the Bible doesn't say.
And the reason I do not is because I believe there was a huge time span between Genesis 1 and 2. And I believe that time span is actually spoken about in Job. I believe it's chapter 38.
That's a good point.
It says that when God created the earth, the sons of God rejoiced. And we know based on previous Bible verses that when God says the sons of God, more often than not, he's referring to actual angels. So he created the earth for his angels. It speaks lengthily in Ezekiel and other passages about the kingdom of Satan and how Lucifer was actually here well before humans were. And we don't know how long that was, but we know he created the earth for the angels. We know that.
Also, it says on the Bible that time's like so different between what we, like one day could be like a whole year for him. Or
so that's
you know what I mean? It gets complicated as well.
But nonetheless, I feel like for sure the actual earth was here a lot longer than what human beings have been on the earth.
Yeah, of course. All right.
So I believe that.
So, like, let's start wrapping it up, but like...
we got a lot of good stuff to talk about.
Yeah,
so
but...
we'll go into some more creation
Mika,
and God.
Mika,
and
where you at, bro? You started this.
He's freaking...
So, you better still be here, Mika.
So some people are saying that this is a good discussion topic for probably the next podcast.
Heck yeah, no, trust me, we're gonna go
next time.
deep because what you're saying, Genesis 1 and 2, there is even in the Hebrew language, you can like they're separate. Okay, so in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, boom, and that's it. That's all there was to it. What happens in verse 2 and on is the beginning of a different creation account.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
And the earth was
and it's
void.
very poetic, and there's a lot of stuff going on, and yeah. So we'll keep that for next time because some interesting. Because remember, if you remember, these little angels or these little gods or whatever it had, because it's like the earth was without void in shape, right? And it was just there. So these things come, and they're like, okay, how? And then they fashion it. They create the first thing and the second thing, and there's a way to it, and you can go deep. You can peel back and there's like different meanings too. Like the Bible is super complex. You see what I'm saying? Like it's not just one. There's different layers to it. So that'll be interesting to get into.
Final thoughts, Trae?
I don't know. I guess for next time, man, you just we got a lot to come with.
I'm pumped for next
to really
time.
support these theories and stuff.
And
like that.
we're gonna take it from factually speaking to theoretically speaking.
But anyways, guys, we'll wrap it up for now. Guys, one thing that we were trying to do this past week, I was trying to figure out ways on how you guys can support this channel. But I also I don't want to do it without kind of giving back to our audience and our supporters out there. We want to have giveaways. We want to have merch. We want to have all those things. I'm not going to ask
It's
for
all
anything
coming.
now or just saying. I'm just kind of letting you know, guys, that's kind of the plan, because the things that we want to do is we want to make this better. We want to expand to whatever extent we can, whether that be a think tank, in our local community, whether it be that we just have a little bit more time and a little bit more resources to invest in you guys and the research of these things. So that
They're asking when the next podcast is going to be.
We're trying to do it every Monday, guys.
And tell them to check out our little setup next time. We got a little.
I would like to do it twice a week, man, because so much transpires in 1 week, bro. It seems like when we talk about this on a Monday, it's like old news already, and like already 4 or 5 other things have already happened.
That's another thing too. So as events happen, like the Antonio Brown thing, anything that's breaking news, we want to like boom.
We want to talk about it. And
ASAP,
guys,
right?
John right here, just to be honest and really transparent, John, guys, he's the MVP right here. He's helping us set this all up. I mean, he didn't just help us set it all up. I got to give a shout out to Alfonso Barreda out there. Woo, Alfonso. He helped us set it up too. But John has been here. He's been investing his time with us, man. This guy, can I give a shout out to Eden Productions?
You have to, bro.
Guys, woohoo! Guys, Jonathan right here is one of the managers, CEOs, founders, whatever.
He's the owner, manager, and janitor
of Eden Productions, guys.
Eden
You can find him on Facebook, or you can visit his website at Eden Productions with 2 S's at the end of Productions. So it's Eden Productions with 2 S's.com. He's a wedding videographer and photographer. He offers a lot of stuff, DJ booth, photo booth, and all
bottle
that
service.
Stuff. He offers a lot. But my point, guys, is that he charges like $500 an hour or something crazy like that, man. And he's really investing his time. And that's what I mean, to be able to do this and bring this to you a couple of times a week and continue this stuff, man. Guys, I'm a head of a household of 5, and my time and my energy it's valuable.
Between killing cows and
I'm not trying to toot my own
raising
horn.
kids.
I'm not trying to toot my own horn. It's just saying I constantly have to be doing stuff to stay ahead of the ball and stay on top of my bills and etc. And it takes a lot, but I'm passionate about this. I love doing this. I love getting the feedback from you guys. So I'll keep you posted on how maybe come up with ideas on how you could support you. If you guys got any ideas, you could drop them in the comments, send me an inbox, whatever. I'm thinking maybe a Patreon, maybe the Facebook stars. 1 star is equivalent of a cent. I don't know. But either way, guys, thank you for tuning in. I'll be uploading this video later on to Theoretically Speaking Podcast on YouTube and Spotify, as well as Apple Podcasts, to share with your friends. And with that said, guys, you have a good night and God bless y'all.